Yasu Malagezo. Welcome to the Malaka podcast. Norm MacDonald, part 2. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm extremely down because Norm MacDonald died. I can't believe it, honestly. I mean, it just came out of nowhere. I mean, he kept it silent for so long that he was sick, and he just didn't want anyone to know about it. He didn't want people to look at him differently and, judge his comedy and, let's be honest. He didn't want anybody, he didn't give a shit about anybody judging his comedy. The guy went up there, he did his fucking thing every time. He was sexist, he was racist, he would say controversial things. Like, he didn't give a shit. He was a real comic, okay, which is something that the millennials, and yes, I'm aware I'm a millennial, but again, that's like saying Steph Curry's black, is definitely lacking. Okay, we're losing too many of these guys over the years, because of whatever, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks. And a lot of people online have, given Norm MacDonald props, for all the years of his comedy specials and, his shows and just everything. I mean, they're sending out a lot of love to him. And with this podcast, like I said, it's part 2, which means it's the sequel. The last one did all right, I think. I think it's one of my more successful podcasts, which honestly proves that how much of a following Norm MacDonald actually has. And this one I just like to talk a little bit about his life and just things he's done. Just interviews, some stand-up specials, just stuff like that. Because I've already reviewed a lot of the stuff in the first one, so. This is just things I recommend that you absolutely listen to if you're a fan of Norm MacDonald. And Norm, man, we miss you, and you're absolutely not forgotten, man. You are a funny motherfucker. Honestly, one of my favorite comedians of all time. Just a lovable smartass. I mean, I've always said this. I've always loved the relationship he had with David Letterman. And, like, you could see when he was on David Letterman, like, Letterman got it. You know what I mean? Norm MacDonald grew up loving Letterman, as we all did. I mean, let's just really be honest. Once Letterman retired, that was officially the end of that generation and late shows. The new one officially took over, and it is what it is. But I'm not saying that they're all bad, but it's just. I miss Letterman, that's all. And all these guys do, you know what I mean? And Norm MacDonald's a huge fan of David Letterman. And he got it. I mean, he just got him. I mean, he just understood what he was about, I mean, Letterman was great because, he would give a great interview. Like, he would give a fuck, but at the same time, not give a fuck, you know what I mean? Like, he would just call people out on their shit. And keep in mind, Letterman was a great comic as well. You know what I mean? So, Norm always knew that. He always respected him. I mean, there's a lot of good clips that he was on Letterman. I mentioned before that the last appearance he was on Letterman, he did stand-up, and he started crying, and it threw a lot of people off. I mentioned this before, but, again, I just want to mention it again because, people don't get, I mean, Norm MacDonald did give a shit about comedy. He did. He did an interview one time with Dennis Miller. And, Dennis Miller, again, loved Norm MacDonald. Like, he's one of the guys that, got him. And at one point, he says, oh, you got a little Andy Kaufman in you. And you could see that. Like, Norm loved to fuck with people. I've always said this. I don't know if it's true. I just really want to believe it. I truly believe it's amazing what you get away with when you act stupid, you know? And what I mean by that is, like, if you're a smart person and if you're talking to someone stupid, you know it's just very easy to fuck with him. And I feel bad for a lot of these comedians because they got to show up on like morning shows. And if anybody knows a true comedian, I mean, they're not up till fucking like 2, 3 in the afternoon. I mean, they don't give a fuck. I mean, they don't work till what, maybe 8, 9, maybe even later. I mean, what the fuck's, what are we, marathon runners here? Sorry, that's my norm. That's the last time you'll hear it, probably. The point is, you kind of beat your own drum. You know what I mean? And guys like Dennis Miller, David Letterman, they let him do that. So, but one clip I loved, you got to check out, is when Norm Macdonald was on Letterman, and he just recently got fired from Saturday Night Live, and which again, we all know is bullshit. I mean, let's just be honest with ourselves, okay? The time that Norm Macdonald was on, it was kind of like the early, mid, a little bit of the late 90s, whatever. He was in that part there. He was in some sketches in the beginning. And then, he went on the news, which was perfect for Norm. Absolutely perfect. He could just do his thing. Like, I love, like, even simple things, like when he did the news. Like, he would just be on the news and, like, he would just look into the camera the whole time, tell a joke. The joke could either go really well or it could just absolutely bomb. Sometimes people booed. And there's a clip of that. Like, people just, like, somebody just put this up. Like, again, this shows, like, how much people loved Norm Macdonald. Like, there's just a clip on YouTube of, like, people booing at Norm Macdonald. And a lot of it is on the news. And it was just so funny. Like, again, Norm did not give a fuck. I mean, he just looked right in the camera. He shuffled paper, which clearly had nothing on it. Like, I mean, like, there were times where he would say something, the audience would do whatever. He would go to the next page, not even look at the next page. Like, I mean, he didn't look at the first page either. And he would just keep going. Like, it was just, like, literally, like, it looked like 10 sheets of white blank paper. Like, he did nothing. Like, he didn't give a fuck, man. I loved him. And at that time, like, I mean, Will Ferrell was on there, and a couple other people, and yeah, but I don't know, like that mid '90s, man, it was kind of rough, a little bit. Rachel Sand's on there, even Jimmy Fallon was on there, but it's just, he was laughing away at everything, and I love Jimmy. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying he loves to laugh. If you can make Jimmy Fallon laugh, you can. I mean, you can trust me. You can make him laugh. And, it just wasn't doing that well. And, like, I remember sometimes I would just tune in just to watch Norm Macdonald do the news. Like, there was a point where, like, 11 o'clock Mad TV was on. And that was on 11 to 12. And I would just watch that for the first half hour, 11 to 11:30. And then, turn on Saturday Night Live, see who's on there, see who's hosting it, and whatever. And then I'd probably more than likely at that time turn it back on to Mad TV and then wait till whatever, just after 12 and see Norm Macdonald do his thing on the news, and that's it. And like, to me, he was the funniest guy. And apparently Don Allmeyer, who's a fucking prick, he told him, "You're not funny," and it was just complete bullshit, because we all know he fired him because of, all the jokes that he did about OJ there, and, we all know that's bullshit, and, and Norm Macdonald's fucking hilarious, man. And I talked about that in my Saturday Night Live podcast, where two guys specifically they ripped on while making that list of every cast member and ranking them, whatever. Which, by the way, they did the same thing for Comedy Central. I think Norm was like 80-something. And they even told him, he said, like, don't put me on that list. I don't want to be on a list. I don't like lists, whatever. And, I mean, but then again, you have the chance to be the 80th-something of a comedian of all time. I mean, fuck, how could people forget that, right? But you know what I mean? Like, he's right, though. I mean, like, who cares? I mean, comedy's subjective. We all know that. But anyways, doing the list on Rolling Stone there, they, I remember they mentioned Norm Macdonald and Jim Breuer. Again, Jim Breuer, he's fucking hilarious. I love that guy. I mean, the moment that he brought on Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci live in that skit, I mean, that alone puts him in the Saturday Night Live Hall of Fame in my eyes. And Goat Boy, of course, you know. And, Norm Macdonald, they're like, oh, keep smiling in the camera, Norm. Oh, it's funny. It's like, fuck off. But, what kind of pussy wrote that? You know what I mean? Like, bro, you wish you were like a tenth of fucking Norm Macdonald. The guy would go on there and just do his thing. Like, even Chevy Chase said that the only guy that has done it right ever since I left was Norm Macdonald. And again, you can say what you want about Chevy Chase, but he fucking killed it in that about a year and a quarter, year and a half he was on there on the news. He was fucking great. And again, him and Chevy were good friends as well. And, they would interview each other, a couple times there. And, it's... Again, I always say this with stand-up, like, in the end, stand-up comedy, you go on stage, be confident, and tell the truth in a funny way. That's stand-up. Norm did that to the day he died. I mean, he didn't give a shit. Like, he would go on there. He did a funny thing about COVID and all that, and again, like, he didn't care. He went up there and, like, he even said a great thing on Howard Stern, which, again, I mean, there's tons of great moments where Norm Macdonald was on there. But I remember he said that, he doesn't care if he bombed. Like, he didn't care if he went on stage and bombed, And Howard's like, oh, my God, like how can you not care? You care. That's bullshit. Da-da-da. He's like, and then there's like a pause. Nah, I just don't give a shit, I truly believe that he didn't care, I mean, listen, there's a part of you that's like, okay, you want to entertain people. I get that. But at the same time, it's like, like, you go on there and, like, he made a great point. He said, like, isn't it funny that you go on stage and your job is for you to be funny, and you do the exact opposite. You're not funny. I mean that's funny, and he's right. I mean, you go on there, you're just fucking around, and if they don't laugh, who cares? You get paid either way. So I mean, he was just so funny, man. So fucking funny, and you would ask Norm Macdonald, like, who's the funniest person he ever knew, and he would say Chris Farley, because I mean, let's just be honest, Chris Farley is by far one of the funniest people on Saturday Night Live, maybe one of the funniest people of all time. I would absolutely say that very proudly. Take it from a guy who grew up in the 90s. I mean, he was just so fucking funny too. And, the great thing about Farley, even Norm said, like, he would make young people laugh, old people laugh, like whoever. He would just make everybody laugh. And at one point he was being interviewed by a couple people, and they show a picture who they thought was Norm Macdonald and Chris Farley together, but it was actually a scene from Dirty Work, and it was it was Artie Lang. Except that's not Chris Farley. Yeah, that's just another fat guy. Shit. It was a great scene, by the way. The one where they're putting the fish in all the fucking guys' shit there, and then the guns go off, and that is cocaine or something. I don't know. The point is, great fucking movie, by the way. Again, I mentioned this before. Dirty Work. Very underrated movie. And again, it went up against Godzilla. I think it went up against when the Jazz were facing the Bulls or something, like one of those great games in basketball. So, it didn't make a lot of money, But then according to Norm Macdonald, you ask him, he goes, what are you talking about? It made over $1 million. Shit. Oh, man, but like I said, if you got a chance, check out that movie. Artie Lang's in it. Fucking love that guy. Chevy Chase. Ironically, Chris Farley is actually in it. I've always said that Chris Farley, other than Tommy Boy, this was his second funniest movie that he ever did. Not in it for a long time, but really fucking funny. So definitely check that out. Once again, it's called Dirty Work. And they did say that when they originally made the movie, it was supposed to be rated R, and of course, producers and studio execs, of course, they'll ruin everything and make it a PG-13 film. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Look at all the great comedies in history. Or at least the majority of them, at least 90% of them, have been rated R. Okay, so that's that, man. So that version is out there somewhere. Will it ever be released? Who knows? Like even Chevy Chase said to Norm, make sure they don't change it. Leave it rated R, but I don't know. They want, again, when something's rated PG-13 and then compared to, what is it, rated R, so that's 18, it's a 5-year difference. It makes a difference, if you're a teenager. Of course, all the teenagers saw Godzilla that day, but including me, which, again, I'm not going to lie. I think I mentioned this before. Yeah, I was up north with my buddy and his father. We went to go see Godzilla. I wish I went to the other theater and saw Dirty Work. I'm not going to lie. A lot of it was stayed in Toronto. Even the theater I would skip at all the time, the Uptown Theater, close to Yonge and Bloor. It's not there anymore, but it was a good theater to go see movies during the day because it would open at 1 o'clock. So, the one scene where Don Rickles comes in and completely roasts Artie. Look at you, you baby gorilla. Shit. Memories. But anyways, that scene there, you could tell that was the lobby there. Yeah, man, that's a really fucking funny movie. Really funny. I'll talk about it more on the first Norm MacDonald podcast. But yeah, I mean, it was just, I loved it. I thought it was a really funny movie. And definitely check that one out. And whoever made this movie, if you please have it in your heart to actually release the R-rated version. You have to. I mean, I heard there's a classic scene in there where, at one point, Artie and Norm, they, put donuts on their dicks and then take pictures of it and then send it to the frat boys. And, I just, do I want to see that? I mean, yeah, there's a part of me that does. I'm not gonna lie. Do I want to hear Chumbawamba again in that scene? Absolutely. But really funny movie. If you've never seen Dirty Work, I highly recommend you see it. And there's another interview he did where I don't know, he's talking to a guy that sounds like this. Best voice ever. And fuck was I going to say? Oh yeah. So he first of all, Norm Macdonald's just wearing a Batman or just wearing a white cap with like a purple Batman logo on it. He's got it all crooked and shit. I don't know. It looks like I don't know. The interview took place in like 1992, and and these guys are just stupid. Stupid. And they're just like talking about him and, oh, you're from Canada. It must get pretty cold. That's why you're wearing all those layers. And Norm's like, well, yeah, but I'm also a human being. It's like, yeah, like it gets cold in other places, guys. I mean, fuck, it gets colder than that's all about Norm too. Like he would drag shit out like on purpose, just to because the guy already like ripped on him in Canada, so he can go fuck himself. But oh, I can't believe he's talking to me like this. Well, I can't believe you sound like a putty from Seinfeld. You stole my Jesus fish, didn't you? Thank you. So. Like Norm again, like he loves to fuck with people. You could tell, like right there. Like I even paused it at this point of the video, and you can tell he's looking at the guy, and he's like, get ready to get fucked with. You know what I mean? Like and like you think he's gonna say something like really clever, and he does, like in a way, like he said, it gets colder than a vampire's demeanor. So like you think it's gonna be like this big build up. There's nothing. Speaking of pointless build-ups, but again, it's funny. Like when he's on Conan O'Brien, which, by the way, Norm Macdonald and Conan O'Brien, I think they had a really good relationship too. Like, I mean, him and Letterman, obviously, but him and Conan, again, Conan got him as well. I mean, Conan would just let him do whatever the fuck. Like, he just didn't give two shits. And he's telling that the classic moth joke. Now, again, I'm not going to retell this. I'm not going to get into this. I'm not going to tell you what the punchline is, because you should listen to this joke for yourself. And it does drag out a bit, I'm not going to lie, but that is the fucking point, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Any good joke deserves a long process of annoying people. Now, just like me doing this to you right now. So, all I'm trying to say is that a lot of people nowadays, they don't tell like long jokes anymore. Everything's like shouting and a little short shit, whatever. One guy, I was one of the last guys to actually do it. I mean, well, guys like, Chappelle and, Chris Rock, and I mean, they kill it all the time. When they tell a story, there's going to be a good punchline. With Norm Macdonald, it could be a good punchline. I'm not going to lie. But at the same time, who gives a shit? Because it's more just the process of what he does. Like, look at his facial expressions. Like, he'll pause, he'll look at you and go, I'm just fucking with you. Look, you could just, you've seen that look, Like, Artie Lang, when he told a story one time. He auditioned for Saturday Night Live. And I don't know, like, he had to wait a long time for Lorne Michaels, whatever. It's a whole thing. Just you can hear that online. And when I mean online, I mean YouTube, because there's nowhere else to fucking go. It's a monopoly. So basically, like he tells Norm, the process he had to go, to get on Saturday Night Live, talking to Lorne Michaels, all that. He made him wait, whatever. And then Norm goes, he was fucking with you. And Norm, like, he won't sugarcoat nothing. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. Like, I'm sure a moment like that, Norm is just like, please let me be the one to say he's fucking with you. You know what I mean? Like, and he'll be the only one to do it. You know what I mean? So, and then even Artie, I miss him, by the way. I mean, I know he stopped doing the podcast for a bit, and there's been stories about him living with his mother again, or hanging in Florida, or I don't know, whatever the fuck he's doing. But either way, man, dude, we miss you. We love you. You got to get a podcast going again, man. The world needs Artie Lang. But anyways, he was just telling a story how, he was on Dirty Work, or doing Dirty Work with Norm, obviously, and then it comes out, and he's like a local paper said, Artie Lang has all the charm of a date rapist. Jeez. Like, that's brutal. Like, I mean, like, his mom's reading that, like, probably crying, and and I think he told Artie and his mom, he says, yeah, Mrs. Lang, that's great. A date rapist has to have way more charm than a regular rapist. Jeez. And it's just a funny fuck, man. Sorry, like, man, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I haven't laughed like this in a while, man. And again, this is how great the comedies are nowadays. So that gives you an idea right there. But anyways, I mean, Norm Macdonald has just always make me laugh. And again with Artie, he told a story where. This was at the time, I think Chris Farley was going to host Saturday Night Live or something, and they were chilling together at a bar, him, Norm, and Artie, and Norm's like, hey man, you gotta help me with keeping an eye on Chris Farley, which again, Artie Lang keeping an eye on Chris Farley, that just, some jokes just write themselves, and and then like at one moment, like, Artie sees Chris Farley going into a bathroom with Andy Dick. And again, some jokes write themselves, but I'll say it anyway. And so, like, Artie goes to Norm. He's like, bad news, man. I just saw, Chris Farley go into, the bathroom with Andy Dick, and, there's only two reasons why somebody would go into a bathroom with Andy Dick. And then right away, without missing a beat, Norm MacDonald goes, "Oh my God, I hope he's high." Jesus. Oh man, but again, like, he's so quick, like, going back to Conan. I mean, one of the best moments of Norm being on Conan is when I forgot the name of the woman from 90210 there. I don't know. I was more of a the OC guy. I know. You can make fun of me later. The point is, I was late to the game on that one. I cut a couple of episodes of Melrose Place, but whatever. The point is, she's talking about doing a movie with a Carrot Top, and she is trying to think of the title, whatever. And then, like, at one point, Norm MacDonald goes, it'd be a good title? Box Office Poison. Jeez, like, again, he just doesn't give a fuck. And then she thinks of the proper title, or no, like, Conan says, the title's untitled right now, and then she says chairman of the board, and then Conan's like, oh, okay, and then Conan looks at Norm and says, do something with that, you freak. And then Norm says, like, again, not missing a beat, he says, I bet the board is spelled B-O-R-E-D. And Conan just laughs his ass off. The audience goes fucking nuts. And even Conan said years later, like, I'm thankful for someone recording that and putting it online, because back in the day, you'd see the things, you'd hear about it, whatever, the next day, and that's it. Now because of YouTube, people, like, I've seen people, like, have clips of, just like anything on, like, VHSs, like even with another fellow guy who did the news on Saturday Night Live, Colin Quinn. I'm gonna be honest with you. The first time I was introduced to Colin Quinn, I was the news on Saturday Night Live, and I thought he was horrible. I'm sorry, but I love Colin Quinn. He's a fucking funny motherfucker. But on the news, I mean, after Norman, shit, that was big shoes to fill, man. But yeah, now you get to see all these, like, people loading up, like, VHS tapes, and you could see, because, like, whatever the number tags and the lines and, like, the videos, like, shit from probably like 2003, whatever. But you get to see, like, guys like Greg Giraldo and Patrice O'Neal again, and it's fucking awesome, man. So I don't think Norm MacDonald ever did that show. I was really surprised, but again, man, he was just so good at just being himself. Like, no matter where he went, he would just always be Norm. Like, I don't know if this was his. Well, actually, fuck it. There's no fucking way this was his idea. He showed up on an episode of The View, which I think the only reason why he did that is because his show at the time, Norm, which again only lasted, I think, like 3 seasons, whatever. But again, great show. If you ever have the chance, check it out. It was on ABC, and the View was on ABC, whatever. And I mean, who thought this was going to be a great fucking idea is really stupid. But I mean, it was a great idea for me in the sense where I just get to see Norm, rip on Barbara Walters, and he didn't like Barbara Walters. I mean, neither do I. I don't think she's a good interviewer. I don't know. I don't know why she never fessed up, with the whole shit with Richard Pryor. But anyways, yeah. So like, he's like, yeah. I love Bush, the president, and and then, like, he starts ripping on, like, Bill and Hillary Clinton, and they're telling him to, like, shut up, and he just keeps going. He's just this is just fuel in the fire, guys. I'm telling you, like, if you tell Norm to shut up, he's coming at you 10 times. Like, he doesn't give a fuck, man. He's gonna do his thing, and that's it. And like he also said on the View interview, they asked him, what kind of woman would like you? And he said, I have a lot of money. So there you go. But not all women shared Norm's views, especially when apparently he was supposed to be a guide.
He was supposed to be the my guide through SNL, and it turned out that he is a shit stirrer.
I'm not going to guide any lady through comedy. That would take me, first of all, I'd have to figure out how a lady could do comedy.
Oh, jeez. I mean, remember when I said he was sexist? Ladies and gentlemen, just let me point out the views of Norm MacDonald do not necessarily reflect those of the Malaka podcast. So again, like when you're a comic, man, you just say fucking things to break balls or just to push limits. Again, I'm not speaking for Norm MacDonald. I don't know what he was thinking saying that, but at the same time, like, again, man, he just did not give a shit. But I think Norm was a bit of a ladies' man. I mean, he would do certain things. I tell you, let me tell you something. Being funny is a great superpower to have against women. Even if you're ugly, like me, we can just go up to a woman and start to be funny. Worst case, if we can get a laugh, sometimes we don't know what to do on Conan O'Brien.
But I don't like, I dated a guy once. Well, we dated and we broke up. And to get back together, he gave me like this little G-string outfit. Like this little, and I was like, wait a minute. That's for you. That's not for me. So stuff like that is not good. Another guy gave me a keychain, a plastic keychain.
Well, that guy is a moron. How do I get the supermodel back? Hey, look, $1.99 at the airport. I heart New Jersey. Well, he really gave you a keychain?
Plastic. I was gonna bring it out, but I couldn't get it off of my keys, so I left it backstage. But he gave me a keychain.
Why didn't you bring out the G-string?
I love that my dirty uncle's here for this tonight. I tell you what you gotta do. You gotta bring out that G-string.
So as you can clearly see, first of all, Conan is just as bad here. God bless him. He just ended a show recently. I wish him all the best. He's fucking awesome. I haven't listened to it yet, but he did I think about an hour special on Norm. I'm actually surprised like Norm didn't show up in that last week, but did he get to smoke a joint with Seth Rogen? I mean, I guess that makes up for it. But yeah, Conan's awesome. I wish him all the best. But again, Conan got it. As you can clearly see, I mean, I guess I could say this at this point. Like Norm's got a thing for black women, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point. I mean, and it's always on Conan for some reason. Yeah, so like he did this interview on Conan with Rashumba Williams, and yeah, he also did this interview as well.
I would say Kitty does not need tricks because I've never seen as breathtaking a girl in my life, and her smile is so genuine. It's unbelievable.
How you doing this for me?
I'm sorry, I looked, you could have seen the look Norm gave me as you were hugging him. He was like, You did. He did that, and then you hugged him, and he looked at me like, yeah, boy. You're a creep. You're an old codger, you are.
I'm a fat old man. But
No. You are a rapscallion, you are.
I may be a scapegrace, but in this case, I'm absolutely genuine. I don't mean every word of what I said is true. This is a little bit like when Donahue met Marlo. You got it.
Well, it's official. Norm's a pimp. First of all, like honestly, I really do believe he was very genuine in this because the actress here, Kiki Palmer, she's very, very beautiful. Yeah, like just like his tone changes. He's not as he's more like you know what I mean? Sure. And he's always looking at her. Which eye contact very important. He holds her hand at one point, also very important. It shows good contact. The Donnie and Marlo comment. Like most of the crowd, I didn't get the reference. Here's the weird thing. When he said Donnie, for some reason I thought of Phil Donahue, and it turns out that I'm actually right. I Googled Donnie and Marlo, and yes, it is Phil Donahue, who I always liked as a host. I always thought he was fucking hilarious. And Marlo Thomas, the actress. I don't think she's black, though. No. Okay, so maybe he's saying that he met her on like the show, which is what I'm assuming. Okay, so there's a picture here. Yeah, Marlo Thomas meeting Phil on the Donahue show. Okay, there you go. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay. All right, I get it. That's cool. That could happen. I mean, hey, listen, there's got to be times where, actors and actresses, they run into each other at one time. It's going to date. It's LA. Blah, 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 blah. That's it, Did anything happen after this? I have no idea. Only the heavens know. What? The point is, Norm is awesome. He's funny. Gets lots of women. I'm assuming. Hey, Norm was there to promote a book too, Norm MacDonald, based on a true story. Really, that was the name of the book, based on true story. I thought that was fucking awesome. I like Andy Richter, very funny guy, by the way. He just puts the book in front of Norm just so he doesn't keep fucking up. But, there's more.
Hey, Norm, how you doing? How you been?
Listen, man, I'm just a fat old man trying to get through life. But when I even sit beside such a image, I can't.
I'm sorry, when did you become an old Southern colonel? I don't know much, but I know that I'd like to take you for a walk down to that creek yonder. Who are you?
I was talking literally when I said breathtaking, and it's very hard to speak when you don't got no breath left.
Oh, now please, this is too good. Give me the walk.
All right, you gotta come back when this masher isn't here.
I've got to come back with all you guys.
Yeah, I like this lineup. We gotta take this on the road.
I was thinking the same thing.
You guys want to go on the road together and take this act around town?
I don't think I could survive it. I mean, right now, if you were to take my pulse, you'd have to subtract 8.
What does that even mean? Subtract 8. But anyways, that's gonna make a difference. But yeah, he kind of morphed into Colonel Sanders there. I mean, Conan's right. Which is, again, funny because he did play Colonel Sanders in a KFC commercial. KFC likes to mix it up, always make a different Colonel Sanders every couple commercials, whatever. And he was able to do that. So, but again, I mean the power that Norm Macdonald had with women. Norm Macdonald had a show called Norm Macdonald has a show on Netflix. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. And, he interviewed a lot of people. David Letterman, of course, classic episode there, him just shooting the shit back and forth. Finally, the tables have turned. I was told David Letterman had a huge part of Norm Macdonald getting that show. It's a shame it only lasted a season, but he interviewed a lot of good people. M. Night Shyamalan, Michael Keaton, David Spade, and one segment he interviewed Jane Fonda, and again, great chemistry there. The interview ended with Norm Macdonald kissing Jane Fonda. I mean, again, like, I think at one point, I forgot, was that interview or the or another one, but like, Jane Fonda said that he looked a little like Marlon Brando, and then the co-host there said, "What, like now?" Which is, I mean, kind of funny because, I mean, Norm Macdonald did get like a little chubby for a while, and there's a whole thing on YouTube where you can see, like, he just makes fun of himself, and I don't know, his doctor, tells him to open his mouth and say oink, and yeah, it just, there's so many great moments with Norm Macdonald and Adam Egot. Yeah, he was his co-host. He trolled him for 9 minutes straight in this one clip I found on YouTube here. Very funny guy. He actually was in charge of the Comedy Store for a while in LA. I'm not sure if he's still doing it now, but again, we got to get that shit open. The world needs to laugh, man. I mean, I know obviously COVID closed a lot of shit down, but it's good to go out there and just to get people laughing. So, yeah, every good host needs a co-host, and yeah, he was a huge part of his show, the podcast show. Really funny. I think one of the best episodes was him and Super Dave Osborne. Rest in peace to him. A lot of people don't know this. He's actually Albert Brooks' brother. I didn't know that for years. I mean, but then if you look at him, I mean, they kind of have the same face there. I fucking love Albert Brooks. That guy is awesome. Yeah. It's just one of those shows, like, again, Norm's just being himself. Like, it's the same thing with this show. He's just like interviewing people, and then there's always a segment where they'll get guests to read off jokes. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't want to get any more shit, so I'm gonna let you guys just check out all the jokes that he has people read off. Because I don't know, maybe I still have a chance of a career, but yeah. So, but a lot of them, I will say, are very yeah. So again, it's Norm just doing this thing, and he's great. I always wish that Norm Macdonald, like, it sucks in Canada we don't have a lot of like late night hosts, and what I mean by a lot, I mean none. I don't know. I guess Norm Macdonald wouldn't have. I don't. Maybe he would have been down for something like that. I don't know, but I don't know. Maybe a once a week thing. Who knows? But it's a shame that he couldn't do something here in Canada. You know what I mean? Like, and I thought if anybody could really kill it as like a late night host in Canada, it would definitely be him. He did a great job hosting the Junos that year. I remember. He hosted the ESPYs that one year. And he made that he made that crazy joke about the OJ shit. You know what? Again, you're gonna have to just look that up. It's worth checking out. Again, I don't know. I want to not get arrested today. So yeah, there's so many great moments in Norm Macdonald's career. I mean, again, when he came back to host Saturday Night Live. I think I mentioned this before. I mean, there was a thing where like he wanted to do the monologue, and he literally wanted to just leave after the monologue. Like, just leave the building, go in a cab, go home. I mean, can you fucking imagine if he did that? I mean, holy shit. Like, I mean, that would have been fucking crazy. I mean, that would have been epic, man, if he did that. I mean, there's no fucking way. I mean, you know what? More likely, yeah, he wouldn't get work after that. But I mean, but then again, I don't know. Well, I mean, he definitely would have worked on Saturday Night Live again, that's for sure. But I mean, I don't know. Like, would it really have affected his work? You know, I don't know. I mean, like if he did do that, I mean, that would be fucking insane. I mean, obviously, if you're gonna hire Norm Macdonald, like the thing you got to worry about is shit. You know, is he gonna not show up one day, especially if it's a live event, whatever? But like, would it have really affected his work? I don't know. I always wonder that. You know, I mean, obviously, Saturday Night Live, forget. Yeah, that would have been dead for sure. I mean, Lauren Michaels would have put on a hit squad, but I don't know. I wonder that. I think like I don't know. Norm might be one of the few people to actually do that and get away with it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. You never know. But one thing I do know is, I mean, I'm reading off all these clips that he's doing. But there's one specific clip, and I've been playing this a lot the last year because I just recently discovered this clip. And if you go on YouTube, and if I could recommend one Norm Macdonald interview, like he did with two people on this radio show, whatever. I'm assuming he did it around like 2008, 9, whatever, because he said he saw Gran Torino at one point in the interview, so it must have been around there. And I haven't wondered if it was like kind of. I mean, you'd have to listen to the whole interview to kind of. Again, like you don't really know if he's like fucking with these people or, you know. I mean, they always say there's a little truth to every joke, you know. I feel this is really a fascinating interview. This is a really good moment if you're just like, you know, cleaning or, I don't know, rolling a joint, whatever. Just, you know, something you need in the background there, you know, while you're making pasta. Just, you know, put this on, you'll laugh your ass off. Now, the clip is called 46 Minutes of Norm Macdonald Talking to Idiots. The clip starts at about 7:40. I mean, there's a couple things I already mentioned that happened, you know, a couple things that he does, you know, interview-wise. But this clip specifically, I mean, he, like, it's just a really fascinating clip because, I mean, like, clearly at one point he is fucking with them, like, you can tell. But a lot of the things he's saying is just very much like, you know, like, is he for real? Like, is he, you know, like, you know, am I an idiot, like, even right now, just thinking that, you know, this is actually serious or, but here's my theory. I think a lot of the shit that he's saying is actually true. I think a lot of times when you see Norm Macdonald, or most of the time, or any other time other than this clip, or maybe when he was talking to, like, let's say, you know, like maybe Larry King, you know, who is definitely one of the best interviewers of all time. Rest in peace to him. And yeah, I've been feeling a lot of the shit that he's saying in this interview is very genuine. I think this is one of the realest moments that Norm Macdonald ever had. I don't know, like maybe it was one of those things where, I don't know, he was interviewed early in the morning. He just didn't give a shit, you know, well, I mean, more than what he's, you know, what we're used to, or I don't know. I'm going to play a little bit of it, and why don't you guys be the judge?
Norm, are you in therapy at all?
No.
Really?
Psychotherapy?
Yeah, have you ever, like, sat with a therapist and...
No, I don't believe in psychotherapy.
You don't?
No.
Really, why is that?
Because I've read psychotherapists.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with their...
Do you do your own psychoanalysis? Do you
I have
spend
my
a lot
own
of time...
beliefs.
Right. But do you spend a lot of time in, like, sort of self-reflection and...
Yes,
Do you?
I ruminate.
Do you?
Yeah, I have a theory that people are in deep denial of death.
Right.
And I'm not.
You know you don't want to.
No, I think most people don't think they're gonna die.
Well, yeah, you know, it's funny that you say that, because just even in the last week, I'm like, nobody really thinks they're gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't get your head around it because you're so busy living.
Right.
Like,
It's almost
it's not gonna happen
impossible
to
to
me.
comprehend.
Right.
And everything you see is living. Even if someone else dies, it's always a shock because
Right.
they've always been alive. Yeah. So it's very hard. It is a hard thing to wrap your mind around. I'll be doing a lot of this at Cobb's Comedy Club.
Are you a happy person?
I mean, it's true. I mean, like he's there to promote like his stand-up, you know. He's just like talking about life and like, but at the same time, like, I mean, I don't know, like again, Norm has like, you know, the softer voice going on. Like he's very calm, he's very chill, you know. And keep in mind, like Norm Macdonald didn't drink, he didn't smoke weed or nothing like that. Like I don't know, he smoked a cigarette, and like even Joe Rogan told a funny story about Norm Macdonald. Like he was with him on a plane, and he sat next to him. Yeah, it was just random, like it wasn't like planned or nothing. And then they're just talking, and I don't know. And then at one point they're talking about cigarettes, and you know, like Norm's like, I haven't smoked a cigarette in whatever time, and he's like, oh man, now I really want a cigarette, you know. And like as soon as they land, he goes. He goes to the gift shop. He buys a pack of cigarettes, and Joe says he's like lighting the cigarette, like even like as the doors are sliding open at the airport. Like he just can't wait for it. But yeah, man, you know, he just seems like a very chilled guy. So like, I'm not gonna play this whole thing because just trust me, if you're a Norm Macdonald fan, I highly recommend that you listen to this clip. Again, it's on YouTube. It's called 46 Minutes of Norm Macdonald Talking to Idiots. Started at about 7 minutes and 40 seconds in. You will love it. Like he says a lot of funny shit, a lot of absolutely risque shit, as the French call it. Yeah, and it's even a funny picture too. I know it shows the two DJs, but then it shows like Norm with it looks like he's in like a mousetrap or something. He's holding a thing of cheese. Like, I don't know. Like, but, God, man. I mean, 61, man. You know, fuck. I don't know. It's just, too soon, guys. Too soon, you know. Like I said, I did a lot of the stuff before on the first Norm Macdonald podcast, but on the Wikipedia here, the Free Encyclopedia, it says here, it just says about his death. Macdonald died from acute leukemia at a hospital at Pasadena, California on September 14, 2021, at the age of 61. He had been diagnosed 9 years prior, though he disclosed his diagnosis to only a few close friends and family members, fearing that publicly discussing his health would affect the way he was perceived, according to his brother, Neil. Many comedians publicly mourned him. And yeah, if you go on YouTube, guys, you can see a bunch of stuff. Like I mentioned before, Conan did like a whole hour. You know, it's just, it really sucks. You know, I was having a bad day that day, and then I heard about this news, and I was like, shit. Like, I couldn't believe it. I actually saw somebody put it up on Facebook there, and I was like, no, there's no fucking way he died. I mean, like, we didn't, you know, I mean, did he get into an accident or something? I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. And then you find out he's, you know, he kept the secret for a while, and yeah, it, you know, it's true. I remember when Uncle Junior said in Sopranos, like, you know, when you tell someone you're sick, you know, they look at you differently. You know, it's true. You know, and I this is so Norm. You know what I mean? Like in the sense where I could see him not wanting to tell anybody that. I mean, he did not want sympathy for sure. You know, he did not want people to look at him differently, and you know, I'm personally, I'm really saddened by this. I really am. I mean, I was looking forward to seeing, like, you know, like how Norm would be in his like 80s or something, and I'm sure he'd still be doing stand up. And like recently, he did the Netflix special Hitler's Dog, Gossip and Trickery, which obviously I recommend. Anything Norm doing stand up. I mean, like, he only did so many official specials. He would just do a lot of stuff on late night shows, and I mean the interviews, you know, that he would do. It's just you know, he would save a lot of interviews, a lot, man. You know, and you could tell like he would be the first guest, and then someone else would come on after. You know, and like he would stay. You know, they'd probably tell him, look, stay on the couch, man. You know, we need you. You know. So, you know, I mean, that says a lot about his talent, and you know, it sucks he's gone. It really, really sucks. You know, It was funny too. I found this clip he did when he was on the Norm Has a Show on Netflix when he interviewed, I think it was only 10 people. And at one point he was just talking to Letterman, just about the concept of death. And, and even before this, I found like a clip of him just, saying like, he doesn't want people to feel sorry for someone who, is dying. And, I know you listen to this now and you're like, shit, like he was actually going through it, and nobody knew. And, maybe, this is his way of saying it, without actually saying it. And, it sucks, man. It's a huge loss for comedy, big time. Like I said before, there's not a lot of people out there who are, not afraid to say anything. Again, there's a lot of funny people out there, don't get me wrong, but we're living in this PC world where I mean, I don't know if it's going to get better or worse. I mean, probably it's going to get worse. We're going to need that generation to stop just bitching and complaining about every little fucking thing. But Norm did not give a fuck. He didn't care. He was what he was. He said a lot of controversial shit, and we still loved him. We loved him because he was just an honest and truthful guy. And like I was saying before about him talking to Letterman, he just said, he said, you know what? I'm going to let him say it.
You can't run from it.
Fuck, I was hoping you could. You know where I differ from a lot of people?
Really? Really? You're different from a lot of people.
When I have my funeral,
Yeah.
and most of these funerals, crying and sad and everything like that, and that's what I like, I don't want, I've heard of other ones, let's have a party. Whoa.
No party.
There'll be a lot of party days later. But right now, I'm dead. I mean, people should be talking, crying.
That was great. I even love that like Letterman said, "Oh, really? You're not like normal people, really?" But that's the kind of like relationship they had where they can go back and forth like that, And don't party, I feel like that too sometimes, people should party. I mean, yeah, but I don't know. Norm's got me thinking too. It's like, yeah, people should be fucking sad. Why are they partying when I'm dead? I mean, that's party when you kill a serial killer. Not me. I mean, I'm just I'm lying here dead, man. So yeah, man. Fuck, he was so funny. I can't believe he died, honestly. Actually, it's even weirder because he played Death in an episode of Family Guy. So, yeah. I'm not saying there's any connection to that. I'm just saying I like Family Guy, and, he was funny doing that. But yeah, shit, man. I don't know. Too soon. Oh, too soon. But like I said, guys, this podcast, I just wanted to share a couple great moments in Norm's career. And I mean, there's lots more out there. A lot of people, giving Norm his proper props the last week. And he deserves it. He is definitely one of the greatest comedians of all time. I'm not afraid to say that. I'm not just saying that because he died. He's a guy I grew up loving in the 90s. Later on, he had his shows. He always was Norm. Like, he never changed, So, I mean, God bless him for that. So, if you ever want a good laugh, just go on YouTube, look up some Norm clips. There's tons of them. Like I said, it really shows like how much of a following he really had. And I just want to say, Norm, thank you very much for making my childhood. You're a really funny guy. We all love you. I remember all the funny shit you did, and rest in peace. And this has been the second podcast I've done about Norm MacDonald, and you know, it's got a, you know, a very appropriate title. You know, nothing too long. You know, nothing too short. I remember even one like interview he did, like I think it was a Canadian radio station. Yeah, like the whole time he's just licking a lollipop, you know. And again, he doesn't give a shit. He's just dragging it out, and you know, like you know, a lot of times when you drag something that should end soon, you know, it you know, it tends to impale on itself, you know, and you just don't want to, you know, let it go for that long. But you know, you just, you know, hope it ends soon, and you know, you hope the fucking shit doesn't drag out. The point is, Norm, you're awesome. And this is the end of this podcast, entitled Norm MacDonald, Part 2.